Today I'm making a summer feast for friends featuring some homemade Parmesan cheese straws. We're going to use puff pastry, and that's store-bought puff pastry, and I've let it thaw overnight in the fridge. Now, back when we've developed this recipe, I feel like store-bought puff didn't have all this extra flour on it. So one thing that's not in the recipe that I like to do is brush off the extra flour, and if it's very floury like this, I brush it with a little water, just to help the cheese stick. And again, you don't need to do this with all types of puff pastry, just if it looks really dry or floury. Now, of course, you can buy cheese straws. They're usually with the fancy cheese at the supermarket, but they're really expensive and they're a little stale. So making them yourself saves a bunch of money and they taste way better. Now I'm gonna season the puff with a little bit of salt and pepper. We're gonna season both sides, so don't go crazy. Now for the cheese. I like using Parmesan, and you notice this Parmesan, ooh, it's like snow, it's so fluffy. That's because I used a rasp style grater, and I love this because it melts right into the dough. And you want about 2 ounces of cheese. We'll put half of it on one side and half on the other. All right, spread it out right onto the puff. Top it with another piece of parchment. And using a rolling pin, just gonna press the cheese right into the dough. You're also gonna roll the dough out a little bit, and that's fine. At the end of the day, the dough should measure about 10.5 inches square. Oh, yeah, you see how the cheese is really nicely pressed into the dough? That's perfect. All right, we're gonna flip it over and do the same on the second side. See, this side doesn't look as floury as the first side, but it still looks a little dry. A little bit of water, freshen it up. Again, a little bit of salt and pepper, and the rest of this cheese. All right, now to make cheese strips, what you want to do is cut this dough into strips. Should make about 14. They're about 3/4 of an inch wide. All right, so maybe I'll only get 12 out of this. You can tell I'm not great with the measuring. I like it when things look a little rustic, as long as there's enough for everybody. Oh yeah, oh, it's 2 little skinny guys. I love those. All right, now to make cheese straws, we're gonna pick up each one, put it on parchment lined baking sheet, and as we pick it up, we're gonna twist it. You wanna spread, this is enough for 2 sheet pans. We can bake them at the same time though. Here we have all the cheese straws. Now you wanna bake this in a hot oven like you would most puff pastry. 425 degrees, upper, lower, and middle lower racks halfway through. I'm gonna switch and rotate the pan so that they bake evenly. Only takes about 10 minutes. Look at that. The texture is perfect, it's not stale, and it's perfect for dipping. See you next time. Thanks for watching. What'd you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you're excited to cook this week. You can get today's recipes and more for free at our website.